for you guys that just now are coming on board and you're kind of like, what's the RCWR Show, blah, 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 the RCWR Show, it's been around since late 2011, early 2012. I mean, we've been going at it hard. We've been pumping out episodes like 3, 4, 5, sometimes even more than that. We just pump out episodes consecutively, and we're always talking about the very latest wrestling-related news and beyond. My whole thing is, if it has you guys talking, we're definitely going to be talking about it over here on our show. A lot of people, they have this misconception that the only thing that we talk about, or that what's our thing, is that we cover wrestling and wrestling only. And that's not true. And I challenge anybody to go back to our very first episode. Very horrific, mind you, as I was just starting off. But if you can endure it, more power to you. But since the very first episode that has been distributed through the company in which I've started, Infinity One Productions, Infinity One Productions Network, Infinity One Entertainment, Infinity One Wrestling, it's all under the same name, which is Infinity One Productions. We've never lost sight of that vision. And in order to really understand how the RCWR Show and all that came about and understand a little bit more about me, you kind of have to rewind it back a little bit to where I was 2+ years ago. And 2+ years ago, I was a security guard working a graveyard shift. And, graveyard shifts, and I'm sure that there's some of you fellas, some of you folks out there can definitely agree with this. When it comes to those graveyard shifts, those things can be a real kick in the ass because you're trying to do everything you can to stay alert, to stay awake, as sleep is your worst enemy. So for me, when I was doing security work, I did it at a residential building. I did a couple of patrols here and there, but my primary objective was to be stationed in the lobby area, make sure nobody weird got in there, and that's where all the cameras were and all that. So I would sit there, and luckily I had internet access, so I would bring my laptop, and I would just pop that son of a bitch open, and I would just be browsing on YouTube looking for some really cool wrestling video footage to check out of maybe what I might have missed from WWE program and TNA, Ring of Honor, whatever. And one of the very first wrestling shows that I came across was Don Tony, Kevin Castle. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I just started listening to it a little bit more, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I got hooked on to them very, very quickly, despite the fact that sometimes their tongue-in-cheek humor was a little bit too raunchy at times. I think those of you veteran listeners that make your rounds listening to shows, you can definitely agree with me on that. And it set me up to be in a position where I was checking out other shows, because now that I heard them, I was like, so what else is out there? So I started looking around a little more. Then I stumbled upon Wrestle Heat Radio. Then I stumbled upon Pro Wrestling Report. And mind you, I should make sure I let this know perfectly clear. It's like a totally different ball game now that I'm in this field, because I really don't have the luxury to listen to those shows anymore, let alone other people's shows, because I get so many people, colleagues and all that, hey, can you check my stuff out? And unfortunately, with the way my schedule is now, I only have time to invest in my stuff, and that's the truth. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, It's like I want to support other people, but I got my own stuff here going on, and that's very time-consuming. But you guys get the point. But anyway, so yeah, security guard kickback, listening to those guys. I said, man, this is pretty badass, what these guys are doing. Awesome. And what it did was it inspired me even more to really get back on the saddle in my passion for wrestling, which was always there. I never walked away from wrestling. It just got heightened even more checking out some of these guys' shows. And I ended up creating a blog website. And originally, it was just a blog, but then I turned it into a website. You guys know it as Infinity One Productions. If you remember the site early on, it was just strictly a blog page where I would just give random thoughts on something. But then I just started taking it a little bit more seriously, and I turned it into a website. And that was it. Originally, that's all I was going to be doing. And I remember I had ended up losing my job as a security guard. I'm not going to go into the whole details about what had went down because I've said the story before. Maybe we can give you guys a link or something that might be curious what had happened. I can tell you this much. It was some really foul stuff that went down. But I started saying to myself, okay, you know what? I am at a point right now in my life where I want to be happy with what I'm doing. I want to be in a position where I'm enjoying life and I'm spending time with my family and friends. I'm working on a relationship, you know. I need something that's going to make me really happy. So I had just a little bit of downtime in between jobs once I was, you know, let go from the security gig. And I said, well, hell, man, what's up with this whole internet radio or podcasting? What the hell is up with that? So I started doing some research, and I said, well, hell, man, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, I think I could pull it off. Let's see what happens for maybe 1 month. 1 month turned into 2 months. Then it turned into 3 months. And along the way, I was just reaching out to people, and I was saying, hey, man, I got this show. If you could check it out and let me know what you think, I'd really appreciate it because, man, I think I might be on to something here. I just pitched myself out there. I would just interact with anybody that would give me the time and day and check out my stuff. And way back then, I was just a big old sponge of info. I still am, but back then I was just very, very eager to get people to listen to my product and ask them, you know, what's good, what's bad about it. And, you know, if it wasn't for that constructive criticism and most importantly having thick skin when it counted the most, I don't really think I'd be doing this still. But, yeah, so, I mean, like I said, one episode turned into 10 and then you got 20 and 30 and then, you know, you got a month later, 2 months later, and then, bam, here we are, the RCWR Show, 300th episode.